Purposeful Nudge introduces Architecting Choice, Behavioral Operations in Field Services.
Corporate operating procedures are drafted in quiet, climate-controlled offices, but they are executed here. In the field, standard protocols instantly collide with the chaotic, unpredictable reality of a physical environment. When organizations try to manage this chaos with dense, passive manuals, they create process debt. Under pressure, technicians simply do not have the cognitive bandwidth to consult a 50-page standard operating procedure. They ignore the manual and rely on instinct. The reality is that your organizational chart does not dictate your field culture. Culture is determined entirely by the unprompted decisions a technician makes when they are completely unsupervised. To bridge the gap between corporate intent and frontline execution, operations leaders are replacing passive policy with choice architecture. They are embedding subtle, strategic guides directly into the technician's digital workflow. This approach is built on nudge theory, popularized by the behavioral economist Richard Thaler. Thaler, alongside legal scholar Cass Sunstein, demonstrated that you can systematically structure an environment to steer people toward optimal decisions without actually restricting their freedom to choose. Applied to field services, behavioral nudging operates as a piece of infrastructure. It provides precise guidance at the exact moment of decision, eliminating the need for aggressive micromanagement. To engineer these nudges, we have to look at how humans actually process information. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman mapped this out through his dual process theory of cognition. Kahneman identified two paths. System 1 thinking is fast, automatic, and highly intuitive. It is essential for rapid execution, but when a technician faces a highly complex problem under pressure, System 1 is highly susceptible to cognitive bias and error. This diagram represents choice architecture that removes cognitive friction. Making the optimal choice the default allows flawless execution on autopilot. By contrast, a System 2 nudge intentionally adds a point of friction, forcing the technician to pause, analyze hard data, and engage in expert troubleshooting. High-performing field organizations build both into their tools. They deploy System 1 nudges to accelerate logistics, and System 2 nudges to force deliberate judgment during high-stakes client interactions. We can map this dual system architecture directly onto a standard field service lifecycle. This timeline tracks a single service ticket from dispatch through closure. It starts with a critical equipment failure. A technician receives the alert and must mobilize immediately. At this stage, the platform deploys System 1 nudges. Data fields auto-populate, and the GPS defaults to the most efficient route based on live traffic and fuel constraints. The technician does not have to spend time calculating logistics. Eliminating these low-level micro-decisions preserves their cognitive bandwidth for the actual customer engagement ahead. During routine logistical phases, the most effective choice architecture operates invisibly, making the correct operational action entirely automatic. The scenario shifts as we reach the arrival phase. The timeline indicates an escalation. The technician is about to encounter a highly frustrated user facing costly downtime. Under emotional pressure, human instinct defaults to System 1 fast thinking. The technician will naturally attempt to de-escalate by jumping straight to rapid, defensive technical explanations. To override this instinct, the platform triggers a System 2 intervention right before the technician exits their vehicle. The CRM pushes a specific flag: repeat caller, start with context. This is an educative intervention. It deliberately interrupts the technician's autopilot state and prompts them to practice active listening before touching the equipment. Empathy cannot be assumed in a corporate mandate. It must be systematically engineered into the workflow at the exact moment of high emotional stakes. Moving into the troubleshooting phase, the technician faces a novel, ambiguous fault code on the machinery. When confronting an unfamiliar problem, technicians frequently fall back on flawed heuristics. They rely on gut instinct, which often leads to misdiagnosis and wasted parts. The system counters this by pushing a smart disclosure directly to the technician's screen, presenting a concise 3-bullet summary of the asset's 10-year maintenance history. It pairs this history with statistical social proof. This widget reveals exactly how the majority of senior experts successfully resolved this specific fault code in the past. Injecting factual clarity and statistical evidence at the moment of ambiguity empowers the technician to act as an empowered, strategic partner. The machine is finally running. The timeline reaches the closure phase. The technician experiences a strong psychological drive to close the ticket and drive to the next site. To ensure quality standards are met, the workflow introduces a final System 2 checkpoint. The software physically blocks ticket closure until they address a specific prompt. Did you confirm emotional and technical closure? In behavioral science, this elicits an implementation intention. It forces the technician to deliberately reflect on the human outcome of the service call, ensuring the customer is actually satisfied. Adding this deliberate friction ensures that behavioral standards are executed completely, even after the technical fix is finished. When we scale these individual digital prompts across thousands of daily service calls, the impact on the enterprise's bottom line becomes highly visible. This matrix maps behavioral design directly to financial returns. Looking at the data, deploying the System 2 empathy flag in the CRM yielded a 25% reduction in costly customer escalations within 60 days. Furthermore, introducing the final closure checkpoints drove an 18% increase in customer satisfaction scores, while cutting repeat service tickets by 22%. These interventions function as a measurable cost containment strategy, securing revenue by preventing the errors that drive up operational overhead. Architecting these choices shapes a unified professional identity across the workforce, replacing the need for micromanagement with built-in guidance. Industrial pioneer Joseph Jurin argued that quality must be structurally built into a process from the beginning. Today, we apply that exact principle to human decision-making. In field operations, the governing rule is absolute. When stress hits, defaults will always win. Integrating behavioral parameters into the field service platform bridges the gap between abstract policy and the actual decisions made on a client's loading dock. By architecting the choices within digital workflows, executives transform abstract moments of service into measurable, repeatable business value.
For more insights, subscribe to Purposeful Nudge and start rewiring your field services organization today.